I need to tell you something, and I need you to stay with me, because what I'm about to say, I've never said out loud before. Not like this, not with this much honesty. I've thought about it 1,000 times in the quiet of the night, when everything goes still, and it's just me and my own thoughts, and every single time your face comes to mind. Not a specific moment, not a specific place, just you. The way you make me feel without even being in the same room as me. The way you've somehow become the reason I keep going, even on the days when I feel like I have absolutely nothing left to give. The way you've somehow become the reason I keep going, even on the days when I feel like I have absolutely nothing left to give. I know that might sound strange. I know you might be sitting there right now wondering why I'm saying this, wondering if I really mean it. And I want you to know I do. Every single word. Though before I go any further, I need to ask you something, and I need you to really think about the answer. Because this question, it's the one that keeps me up at night. It's the one that sits in the back of my mind. Every single time I think about you, every time I imagine what it would feel like to just sit across from you and be completely, terrifyingly honest. The question is this: if you knew everything about me, the real me, not the version I show the world, not the version that smiles and keeps it together and acts like everything is fine, but the real me, the one who doubts himself, the one who has made mistakes he's ashamed of, the one who sometimes feels completely lost, would you still choose me? Would you still be here? I don't know the answer. And honestly, that terrifies me more than anything else in this world. I've spent so much of my life building walls. And I don't mean the kind you can see or touch. I mean the kind that live deep inside your chest. The kind that you put up slowly, quietly, one small disappointment at a time. Until one day you look around and realize you've locked yourself inside, and you don't even remember when you stopped letting people in. I built those walls with my own hands. Every time I was let down. Every time I trusted someone and they walked away. Every time I showed a piece of myself and watched it get treated like it didn't matter. I learned, over and over again, that the safest thing to do was to keep it all inside. To smile, to perform, to be what everyone needed me to be. And I did that for a long, long time. Pronto, but then something shifted. Slowly, quietly. The way the most important things always seem to happen, not all at once, but in small moments, in tiny cracks of light, that you almost miss if you're not paying attention. And that shift, it had everything to do with you. You showed up in my life in a way I wasn't prepared for. Not loudly, not dramatically, just there, steady, present. The kind of presence that doesn't demand anything but somehow gives you everything. And I remember thinking, the first time I really felt it, that something about this was different. Something about you was different. You weren't looking at me the way most people do, like I'm something to admire from a distance, or something to use and then forget. You were looking at me like you actually wanted to know what was underneath. Like the real thing, whatever it was worth your time. Do you have any idea what that does to a person who has spent years believing they have to earn love? Years believing that if anyone really knew them, really truly knew them, they would run. I want to tell you about one of my hardest nights. I've never talked about this, not openly, not honestly, but I think you deserve to hear it, because I think it's the night I understood something about myself that changed everything. It was late. The kind of late where the whole world feels asleep except for you, and the silence isn't peaceful, it's heavy. I was sitting alone and I had this overwhelming feeling that I was failing, not in any specific way, just overall. Like no matter how hard I tried, I was always going to fall short, always going to disappoint someone, always going to be just a little bit less than what people needed. And I sat there in that silence, and I thought about all the things I hadn't said to anyone. All the love I had locked up inside me that I didn't know how to give because I was so afraid of what would happen if I gave it and it wasn't enough. The moment, somehow I thought of you. Not as a fantasy, not as an escape, but as a reason. You were a reason to try again. A reason to believe that maybe there was someone out there who could hold all of this without flinching. Someone who wouldn't need me to be perfect. Someone who would sit in the mess of me and stay anyway. I don't say this to be poetic. I say it because it's the truth. And you deserve the truth more than you deserve anything beautiful I could wrap around it. There are things about me I'm still learning how to accept. I have a temper that I've worked so hard to soften, but it still flares up sometimes in the worst moments. I overthink everything, every conversation, every look, every silence, until I've turned a simple moment into something heavy and complicated that it was never meant to be. I get distant when I'm overwhelmed, not because I don't care, but because I care so much that I don't know what to do with it. And pulling away feels safer than falling apart in front of someone. I've hurt people I love without meaning to. I've said things I can't take back. I've chosen the wrong thing when I knew what the right thing was. I've been selfish. I've been scared. I've been the version of myself that I am most ashamed of. And I've had to look at that, really look at it, and decide what I'm going to do with it. And still, through all of that, I come back to you. I come back to this feeling, this impossible, stubborn feeling, that with you it could be different. That with you I could be different. Not because you'd fix me. I don't need to be fixed. But because something about knowing you exist in this world, something about the thought of your eyes, your warmth, your voice, the way you love, it makes me want to be more honest than I've ever been, more open, more willing to sit in the uncomfortable places instead of running from them. Can I tell you what I love about you? Not the surface things, not the easy things. I love the way you feel things deeply, even when it costs you. I love that you haven't let the hard parts of life make you cold. And I know they could have. I know they almost did, because I've seen it in the quiet moments when you think no one's watching. I love that you keep choosing softness anyway. I love the way you care for people who don't always deserve it. I love the way your mind works, the way you notice things others walk past, the way a small beautiful thing can make your whole face change. I love that you're not easy to fool, that underneath all the warmth there is a sharpness, an intelligence, a knowing that sees through the things people try to hide. I love that I can feel that sharpness even now, even through this. And it doesn't scare me, it makes me want to be more honest, not less. I've been thinking about what it would feel like to be fully known by you, not partially, not the version of me that holds it together and makes you feel safe, but fully. The 3 a.m. version, the version that sits with regret and doesn't know what to do with it. The version that still gets lonely in rooms full of people. The version that wants to love you so much it scares him, because he knows how badly things can go when love is real and fragile and human, and offered without guarantee. Would that version be enough for you? I find myself imagining ordinary things with you, not grand gestures, not perfect moments, just ordinary, quiet, irreplaceable things. Sitting in comfortable silence, making you laugh when you didn't think you could, watching you read, telling you something I've never told anyone, and watching your face instead of looking away, falling asleep, knowing you're close, waking up and having you be the first thought. Not because the world is perfect, not because we're perfect, but because even in the imperfection, it would be real. And real is the only thing I've ever truly wanted. I've spent so long chasing a version of connection that felt safe, felt controlled, felt like it couldn't hurt me. And I'm tired. I'm so tired of safe. I want the kind of love that asks something of me. The kind that calls me higher. Not by demanding I be someone I'm not, but by seeing who I actually am and choosing to stay in that truth with me. The kind that doesn't look away when things get hard. The kind that says, I see all of it, and I'm still here. Are you still here? Because I need to tell you something else. Something I've been holding on to for longer than I know how to say. Every time I've doubted myself, and there have been so many times, you have been the quiet voice in the back of my heart, that said keep going. You didn't know you were doing it. You didn't have to. It was just something about you, something about the way you exist in my life, that made the idea of giving up feel impossible. You have carried me in ways you don't even know, in ways I'm only now finding the courage to say out loud. Maybe that's unfair. Maybe it's too much to put on someone who never asked for it. But I can't pretend it isn't true. And I promised you honesty tonight. So honesty is what you're going to get, even the messy, vulnerable, impossible kind. But maybe I can't pretend it isn't true. And I promised you honesty tonight. So honesty is what you're going to get, even the messy, vulnerable, impossible kind. But maybe I can't pretend it isn't true. And I promised you honesty tonight. So honesty is what you're going to get, even the messy, vulnerable, impossible kind. So fast, so careless with the hearts of people. You are not invisible to me. The things you feel but don't say, the love you give when no one seems to notice, the way you hold yourself together even when you're quietly falling apart. I see it. I feel it. And I want you to know that someone in this world is paying attention. Someone is grateful for your existence in a way that goes deeper than words, though I'm trying my best to find them. You asked me once, or maybe you never asked me, but I've imagined you asking whether I would still want to know you if you weren't perfect. If you were tired, or difficult, or scared, or broken in the ways that life breaks all of us eventually. And I want to answer that finally, honestly, with everything I have. Yes. 1,000 times, yes. Not in spite of those things. Because of them. Because the broken places are where the real person lives. And the real person is the one I want. The real person is the one I've already chosen. Quietly, in all the moments I let myself imagine a life where I stop running and start staying. So, I'm not asking you for anything tonight. I'm not asking you to promise me something you don't know how to give. I'm just asking you to stay a little longer, to keep listening, to let this settle into your chest the way I mean it to. Not as performance, not as words, but as something true and warm and entirely yours, dear. Because I have so much more to tell you, and some of it is going to change everything. I don't even know where to begin with what I'm about to say next. I've been sitting with this for a long time, longer than I'm comfortable admitting, and every time I thought I was ready to say it, something stopped me. Not fear exactly, or maybe it was fear, maybe it was exactly that. Dressed up as something more reasonable, something more dignified. Maybe I told myself it wasn't the right time, or the right moment, or that you weren't ready to hear it. But the truth, the honest, uncomfortable truth, is that I was the one who wasn't ready. I was the one who kept finding reasons to hold back, to stay just far enough inside myself that I could pretend I wasn't as vulnerable as I actually was. But I'm done with that. I'm done with the careful version of this. You deserve more than the careful version. Lighten before sublime. So let me ask you something, and I want you to really sit with it. Have you ever loved someone so much that it frightened you? Not the exciting kind of frightened, not the butterflies and the racing heart kind, but the deep, quiet, terrifying kind. The kind where you wake up one morning and realize that this person has become so important to you that the thought of losing them physically hurts. Like something in your chest that can't be touched or explained, just felt. Have you ever felt that? Because that's what this is. That's what you are to me. And I spent so long trying to convince myself it wasn't that serious. I told myself I was being dramatic. I told myself I was just lonely or tired or looking for something to hold on to. I rationalized it every way I possibly could. Because the alternative, accepting that what I feel is real, that it's deep, that it has roots, was more than I knew how to carry. It still is, if I'm honest. But I'm choosing to carry it anyway because I think you need to hear this more than I need to protect myself from saying it. Flo, there was a moment, I keep coming back to this moment. It wasn't a big moment, which is what gets me every time I think about it. It wasn't dramatic or cinematic or perfectly lit. It was ordinary. Completely, beautifully ordinary. I was going through one of those stretches of time where everything felt gray, not sad exactly, just muted. Like the volume of life had been turned down and I couldn't find the dial to bring it back up. I was going through the motions of every day, doing what needed to be done, saying what needed to be said, and feeling almost nothing behind any of it. And then somehow, in the middle of all that grayness, you came to mind. Not your image, not a memory of just the feeling of you. The warmth of knowing you exist. And it was like something in my chest, slowly unclenched, like a fist I didn't know I was making. Finally, gently letting go. Litiki. That scared me, because I realized in that moment that I had given you power over something inside me, without even meaning to, without asking you, without warning either of us. And the part of me that had been burned before, the part that had learned the hard way what happens when you let someone that close. That part of me wanted to pull back immediately, wanted to find a way to make what I felt smaller, more manageable, less real. But I couldn't. And I think that's the part of the story I need you to understand. I genuinely tried to keep this at a distance, and you kept pulling me back. Not on purpose. Not with anything calculated or intentional, just by being you, just by existing in the way that you do, with all that warmth and all that depth and all that quiet, unshakable realness that I have never been able to look away from. With XP, I want to tell you about the version of me that nobody gets to see. Not because I want your sympathy, I don't need sympathy, but because I think it matters. I think you deserve to know who is standing in front of you when I say all of this, so that when you decide what to do with it, you're deciding with the full picture. Not a highlight reel, not a curated version of myself. The whole thing. Wait. I grew up learning that love was conditional. That's a heavy sentence to say out loud, and I don't say it for effect. I say it because it's the single most important thing that shaped me. The lens through which I've seen every relationship I've ever had. I learned early that love was something you earned, that it could be taken away, that it came with terms, even when no one said so out loud. And so I became very, very good at performing, at figuring out what people needed, and becoming that thing, at shaping myself around the expectations of whoever was in the room, so that the love or whatever passed for it would stay. So that I wouldn't be left. And I did that for years. I got so good at it that I almost forgot there was a real me underneath all the performing. Almost forgot what I actually wanted, what I actually felt, what I actually believed. Because I had spent so long making sure I reflected back whatever the people around me needed to see. De 15 photoboxes de me, and then one day I looked in the mirror and I didn't recognize myself. Not in a dramatic way, just in that quiet, unsettling way, where you realize you've drifted so far from your own center that you don't know how to get back. I didn't know what I liked anymore. Didn't know what I wanted. Didn't know how to sit in a room alone and just be without feeling like I needed to be something for someone. That was a dark time, a long, slow, private kind of dark that I didn't talk about because I didn't have the language for it yet. And also because I had spent so long being the person who held it together that I genuinely didn't know how to fall apart in front of anyone. Donut. I'm still learning how to fall apart in front of people. I want you to know that. I'm still learning how to say I'm not okay without immediately following it up